Good morning, everyone. My name is Jasper Morillo Kailan. So I am the reporter for today. So we are down with our topic, building design, or specifically interior design. So from the word itself, interior design, it is a design or planning that deals or concerns with the interior. So kumbaga yung kaloob-looban po ng mismong building. So interior design, planning and design of man-made spaces are part of environmental design. So take note with the environmental design. It is closely related to architecture. Although the desire is to create a pleasant environment is as old as civilization itself, the field of interior is relatively new. So interior design is more than just selecting fabrics, paint colors, furniture, and other materials. Interior design is a process of creating spaces which are as beautiful as they are functional. Also, it provides solutions to the issues concerning different spaces that people uses every day. If we say spaces po, ito po yung mga space na, na siyang magdi-determine how freely you are moving on a specified dimension with the presence of any other things, objects like sofas, tables, chairs, and many others. It is about life. It is about how we move through space, how we live, how we enjoy things. In everything we do, we are affected by our environment. So, yun po ang sinabi ko kanina na interior design is like environmental design. A good interior design leads to transforming a safe, convenient, and sustainable place for people to live in. So, tama naman po na which is ang mga people or mga house owner po is very critical po sa pag-design po ng mga interior. Paano po, saan po ilagay yung mga object, mga bagay na siyang magdudulot po ng comfortability sa mga tao po na nakatira sa loob mismo or sa mga tao po na nagwo-work or nakatira sa bahay. So, the term interior design indicates a broader area of activity and at the same time suggests its status as a serious profession. So, serious profession po. So, if you say a serious profession, so an interior architect needs to have the creative skills to explore new conceptual designs and layouts to reimagine interior environments. So, ibig sabihin po nito is modern po yung mga design po na naiisip ng ating mga architectural designer. So, dapat po is, although naka-reference po ito sa old, but he or she must be a unique designer po na siyang magugustuhan po ng ating mga kliyente. So, they need to be a good problem solvers and be able to pitch, model, draw, simulate, and test their designs proposal. They also need to be a good communicators, both visually and verbally. So, good communicators po is that in two aspect, kalagay po is visually and verbally. So, sa makikita po lang natin and the way siya po mangusap sa mga nakakatransact po niya, especially lalong-lalo na po sa mga client. They also need to be a good communicators. And most importantly, they need to understand the fundamentals of interior architecture and adaptive reuse. So next, in some European countries where the profession is well established, it is known as interior architecture. Individuals who are concerned with the many elements that shape man-made environments have come to refer to the total field as environmental design. Let's go down with the principles of interior design. If we say principles of interior design, these are the set standards or rules to be followed to create an effective and attractive design composition. So, ito po yung mga standard na dapat sundin, na hindi man lahat but naka-refer po yung mga designer natin sa principles na ito para mas lalong mapaganda, mapadali po ang trabaho ng isang designer. So, next, principles of interior design. It is important to emphasize that interior design is a specialized branch of architecture or environmental design. It is equally important to keep in mind that no specialized branch in any field would be very meaningful if practiced out of context. So you can see here that architectural design po or interior design is a very serious profession. So it requires skills, creativeness po ng mga manggagawa or ng mga designer mismo. The best building and the best interiors are those in which there are no obvious disparity between the many elements that make up the totality. So, meaning po daw ng obvious disparity dito po is yung pagkakaiba. Meaning ba, or kumbaga, ang maganda po daw ng mga building is that yung walang, or kumbaga, hindi masyadong obvious or walang klaro, hindi po klaro po yung pagkakaiba ng mga many elements sa bawat isa, yung mga elemento po na andoon po sa design. Number 1 po ng principle natin is balance. In design, balance gives the impression of equilibrium, kumbaga equal. It refers to a visual aspect and it is about distributing furniture and decorative objects as evenly as possible so that things have the same visual weight when looking at a room. So, kung makikita nyo po sa picture, so, halatang halata po na balance po yung design. Kumbaga, may couch sa kabila, may couch din sa kabila. And also, if makikita mo po yung walls, kumbaga, ang example na balance po dito is symmetrical. To achieve balance, it is important to pay attention to where the elements are placed within the space. For this, we must carefully analyze the line, shape, color, and texture of the different object. So, if narinig nyo po kanina, yung unang binanggit ko po na type of balance is symmetrical. So, symmetrical balance is achieved when items are actually repeated or mirrored along a central axis. So, kumbaga, if hatiin mo po yung dalawang, yung buong picture or image, if hatiin mo po yung gitna is, kumbaga, parang naka-mirror lang. So, this type of balance is frequently seen in nature, our own bodies included. Symmetry is a common in interior design and can portray a feeling of stability, calmness, and dignity. However, it can also be seen as static, dull, and unimaginative. So, while asymmetrical balance relates very strongly to the visual weight of object rather than repeating the same item within a space to achieve balance, in this case, we are using different elements with a similar perceived weight to achieve balance on the opposing axis. And the last one is the radial balance. Just as it sounds, radial balance is almost circular. Distributed arrangement of items around a central point, either extending outward or inward. So the common example po ng ating radial balance that can be translated into the interior environment. It includes po yung chairs na bilog, centered around a table, the structure of a circular rotunda, or even a circular lighting fixture. Next, number 2 is unity and harmony. Unity is a significant feature of house design. Every furnishing, style, and decoration item is worked together to create a cohesive whole. You must constantly remember that patterns, width, texture, and so on should have a smooth flow throughout the project. Otherwise, the individual items in the space will clash and look out of place. Yung sinabi ko kanina, unity and harmony is yung pagkakaisa po ng mga elemento within a specific picture. Kumbaga, yung nakita nyo po yung picture, may pagkakaisa po yung bawat object, bawat element. Same way yung color po. So, next is, so dalian lang po natin. So, rhythm. Rhythm, when decorating our homes, we should think about arranging elements in a way there is repetition, progression, transition, or contrast. By applying these visual mechanisms, we can direct someone's attention around the space and ultimately enhance the overall impression of the room. Next is the proportion and scale. The concept of proportion and scale is the ideal approach to generate a sense of belonging among objects in a room. Things must be in balance with each other and the space, whether it's size, shape, form, or color. The importance of this principle is understanding how to use the surrounding area, whether it be a large or small room. So, proportioning or scale is that, kumbaga, yung gaano po kakalaki po ang isang element is that dapat akma po siya sa dimension or akma po siya sa bawat element na nandoon po sa room. So, kung makikita nyo po sa example po na picture, may pinakita pa siyang aso para accurate po daw yung scaling or proportioning. So, makikita nyo is yung mesa is hindi masyadong malaki or hindi masyadong maliit. I-compare natin po sa sofa which is akma lang siya. So, yung mga background po, yung mga frames, yon. That is proportion and scale. Number 5 naman po is details. Attention to detail is the last of the basic principle of interior design. A room can never feel put together and personal unless it contains the right finishing touches. And the good news is that you don't need to be a professional interior designer to add them. This final step allows you to show off your unique style and personalize the space with things that interest you. So, details po, it talks about yung pinakamaliit po na detalye or element in a specific picture po. Kumbaga, we all know that small things matter naman po, no? If isasam po natin o i-add po natin lahat po ng mga small details na yan, it create a very beautiful big picture. So, you must be aware or kumbaga critical po tayo sa pagpili po ng mga detalye, especially sa mga textures, ganon, especially colors. Next is the static components of design. So, if we say static, uso maning aesthetic karon, no? So, aesthetic is the outside beauty or outward beauty of an object or a product. So, a general definition of beauty and aesthetic is difficult. But unfortunately, there are numbers of generally accepted principles that can be used to achieve an understanding of the aesthetic consideration in the design. So, aesthetics is an old-age principle that revolves the nurture of beauty and the fact that people prefer pretty things. So, next. First impression. A thorough appreciation of design must go beyond the first impression. So, syempre, as sa ato, mga individual, first impression matters. So, dili lang sa design but also, di ba, sa behavior sa isa ka tao. So, first impression matters. When we perceive beauty with more of our senses, we feel deeper pleasure from the design. It's the first impression that greets visitors and employees and sets the tone for their experience. So, kumbaga, ang first impression po is like yung pabungad po na impression natin. Like, di ba example, if magpasok po tayo ng isang building or isang room or art room, di ba? Yung first impression talaga ang hindi natin malilimutan within that place. So, kumbaga, madala-dala natin siya sa ating pagbalik. Yun, yung unang pagpasok ko dito is grabe, maganda. At sa pagbalik mo, sa next mong pagbalik is, impression mo pa rin is maganda pa rin. So, yun, first impression is very important as we discuss aesthetic components. So, number 2 is its purpose. So, one of the key considerations in any design must be the question of whether that elements works or function. So, di naman pwede, may mga ano naman tayo, yung mga like, may, syempre yung mga hindi po magaling, hindi masyadong mag-design is that, kumbaga, pataka lang ba? Yung, basta may mailagay lang tayo dyan, ganon. So, kumbaga, hindi naman siya functional, wala naman siyang silbi. Kumbaga, grabe naman. No? So, pero, kumbaga, hindi siya masyadong, hindi po na-emphasize yung kanyang function or ng isang element. So, if we say, ano naman po, appropriateness, the most difficult aesthetic consideration is the problem of appropriateness. So, if we say appropriateness, may pagkakahawig din po ito sa purpose. So, appropriate designs is designing something suitable, meaningful, beautiful, and functional. So, something that works for many reasons. So, appropriateness po daw is akma lang po ba na ganito po na design or na element ang gagamitin ko in this picture. Next is the relationship. So, all interiors, by definition, occur inside building and have relationship to its building, which is, tama naman po, diba? So, if we say relationship, yung pagkakahawig, or dapat hindi po masyadong malayo. Okay, kumbaga yung disparity. So, example is that, yung ano tayo ng mga places or mga restaurants po na yung mga aesthetic designs, yung kumbaga medyo old age po yung mga design. So, if the building itself, yung panglabas na design or exterior design is pang kumbaga old age, so dapat yung inside po natin, your interior design is that may pagkakahawig po sa building natin or sa outward design or kumbaga sa concept po ng building, ganon. Relationship matters. So next is the condition. The aesthetic response to an interior must take into consideration the social and economic conditions. So let's move sa ato ang elements of design. Space. The single most important element is space. So, kung diba, matong giingon ako kagaina, space, it could be the one that would determine kung saka ka freely mag-move sa specified dimension. So, space is very important, no? So, color is the quality of light reflected from an object to human eye. So, color is very common. Mga paint po dapat natin sa interior is that light, hindi kayo siya dark. So, exterior, it must be dark, and ang interior is, it must be a lighter. So, pero depende gyapon siya. Next is light. So, one of the most important design and element, syempre, ano maging ang lights sa mga lighting, paano dalon sa light ang environment, asa nakabutang ang mga specific lights, so kumbaga kan mga cove lights nga nakatago sa mga ceiling. So, ang lights, magdala kita siya. So, the concepts of design. So, the design concept is a foundational vision a collection of ideas, guidelines, and or creative views upon which an architect can create. Conceptual designs are informed by a deeper meaning, telling a story about the space it occupies and the community it serves. So fundamentally, design is irrational. Architecture is an impressive blend of art and science, while norms and experience may tell us to conceptualize one way. Our artistic ingenuity combined with the client's goals may steer us in a different direction. So next, that means shortly summarize ati karagod ning dagag word no concept. So that means it's sometimes unclear how to start and where we draw the first line. However, going through that process is what makes the architectural process exciting and challenging. So if we say conceptual design, but it is kumbaga, it is the starting point of designing our interior. So as a designer ba mga yo patag idea, mga yo patag mga creative views, guidelines, lalong-lalo na sa magpahimo og design. So kumbaga haom siya sa concept ba. Ana. So it kada conceptual design nagaano siya sa starting point nimo. So syempre as a designer pinakalisod gyud o pinaka lisod nga step is ang beginning or ang starting point. Di ba? Tama naman po. Next po, I think last slides na ni. Mo ba ni? Last slides. The design relationships. So the real and conscious relationship between art, architecture, and design is of long standing. Though mural paintings was largely neglected in the mid-20th century, in the past, great murals have been planned focal points of interiors and have, in a way, determined the architecture. Similarly, the sculpture or sculptural forms as fixed and permanent specs of buildings can be the most important design features if planned that way by the architect together with the interior designer and artist. Perhaps the best design is one in which there is no visible difference between architecture and interior and in which even the artwork is incorporated as an integral part of the total. So if mapansin niyo ning last phrase or last sentence or last paragraph, kumbaga, the beautiful building ba daw katong giingon ako kaya the beautiful building is that there is no or kumbaga there is no obvious disparity, walang masyadong pagkakaiba, kumbaga hindi klaro yung pagkakaiba po ng mga elements or kumbaga yung architecture po natin sa ating aesthetic designs or kumbaga interior design, kumbaga hindi po masyadong malayo po yung relationship po ng bawat isa, kumbaga sa kabuuan, kumbaga mag-form po siya ng unity. I guess that would be the last slide. So thank you so much for listening. I hope nakalearn mo sa simple or kumbaga principles sa interior design, sa elements and aesthetic components. So that would be all. Thank you so much for listening.